Hello, hello. Welcome back to Let's Talk Entertainment News. If you've not subscribed to our channel, please take a moment to do that now. Also, if you have something positive or constructive to say about the topic at hand, feel free to drop that in the comment section below and we will try to get to it shortly. But always keep it friendly, keep it on topic, don't shoot the messenger. All right, moving on to your news story for your morning. This is another revival story of a horror label. Last week, you may remember, we did a video on the return of Amicus, and now another famous British horror label is returning yet again, because didn't they revive Hammer about a decade ago with that movie with Daniel Radcliffe, Woman in Black, Lady in Black? Hammer Horror returning to life with new owner and new slate of movies. You can't talk about the history of horror without talking about Hammer Horror, with Hammer Film Productions over the years releasing countless classics, including their own takes on iconic monsters such as Dracula, Frankenstein, and The Mummy, and in movies solidifying the likes of Christopher Lee and Peter Cushing as true icons of the horror genre. Variety reports this morning that British theater producer John Gore has acquired Hammer Films and Studios, and he'll lead a new team aiming to revitalize the legendary brand. Under Gore's management, the plan is to invest significantly in Hammer Films to breathe new life into the studio, blending the nostalgic charm of horror with modern cinematic style and innovation while preserving its heritage and library. Variety's exclusive report details. A new slate of films and projects will be unveiled imminently. New owner John Gore said in a statement, "Ever since I was a young boy, I've been enchanted by the magic of horror films. Of Hammer Films. Its stories, its characters, and its unique place in British heritage and cinema have been a source of inspiration and wonder. Today, as I stand at the helm of this iconic studio, my commitment is twofold: to celebrate and to preserve the unmatched legacy of Hammer, and to usher in a new era of storytelling that captivates audiences worldwide. With significant investment and a fresh creative vision, we will ensure that the spirit of Hammer not only endures, but thrives in the modern age." Bloody Disgusting's Paul Farrell provides a brief company overview in the opening of this monthly column, Hammer Factory. While Hammer Studios has been in business since 1934, it was between 1955 and 1979 that it towered as one of the premier sources of edgy gothic horror. On top of ushering the famous monsters of Universal's horror heyday back into the public eye, resurrecting the likes of Frankenstein, Dracula, and The Mummy in vivid color, the studio invited performers like Christopher Lee, Peter Cushing, Ingrid Pitt, and so many more to step into the genre limelight. Spanning a library housing over 300 films, Hammer Studios is a key part of horror history that until recently has been far too difficult to track down. Ingrid Pitt, now that's a name that I know. Of course, I know Christopher Lee and Peter Cushing as well, from their work in many things, Star Wars, Lord of the Rings most recently, but of course their older work as well. But Ingrid Pitt, I first came across that name as a young man in the late 90s when her voice appeared in the Cradle of Filth album, Cruelty and the Beast. Of course, a great British blackened heavy metal band who is highly influenced by horror, among other things, and being British as well, it's very much in keeping with their whole shtick, I guess. So yeah, Amicus back, and now looks like Hammer Horror is returning as well. I'm ashamed to say that I'm not overly familiar with these films. I know them by names. I know that the appearances of Dracula and all of that. But, growing up in rural northeastern Pennsylvania in the 80s and 90s with 2-3 television channels, no cable, limited rental opportunities, limited buying opportunities, Hammer is something that's I more heard about a lot, and its history was always shrouded in mystery. I knew enough to know that it was important to the horror genre, the horror world of filmmaking, but of course limited experience actually seeing a lot of these films, and now with the ubiquitous availability of streaming, of Amazon making purchases, and all these great sets that are coming out in physical media, maybe it's high time that I do acquaint myself with this. However, the main reason that I bring it up here is that a large part of our channel is in fact horror, a lot of B-horror stuff. Our horror movie review host, Let's Talk Spoof host, Don, he tackles a lot of low-budget horror, most of it more modern. But he is flying the flag for B cinema in the modern day. And together, He and Jeremiah also host a show. It's all about Asylum Pictures, which does mainly mockbusters, but some of that is horror as well. So there's a big horror element here on Let's Talk, and as long as I have the opportunity to, I'm going to keep covering it. So what do you think? You excited to see horror returning? Is this going to be for real? Is this something that's going to last? It's going to take root? I think so. The horror movie world is very, very healthy right now, and it's spawning a lot of opportunity for a lot of filmmakers and anybody at an executive level who knows enough to keep their budgets in check. There's a lot of money to be made if you're not too greedy. And we see this time and time again with films, companies like Blumhouse, and there's a number of ongoing franchises like the Conjuring universe in particular, as well as Insidious, Saw's back. So there's a lot of money to be made in horror, both mainstream and below. And I think that the Hammer name alone should do amazing things as far as getting their foot in the door on this revival. But of course, within a film or two, they're going to have to deliver. Otherwise, it's, bye-bye. But if anything, perhaps they do revive this company a little bit. Maybe it gets picked up, acquired by something else. Another company is able to, foot some more of the bill, and something cool and interesting comes out of it. But yeah, sounds interesting. A new age for Hammer Horror. All right. Thank you for tuning in. Please subscribe. Until next time, keep it creepy.